mic, they gon' play it on repeat. Cash 100 milli check, I get paid just to breathe. Kill it 24/7, cause I slay in my sleep. Flames pipe down when I enter in the convo.
Remember now, we're not here to judge anybody. We want to handle this with love, right? You want to tell him how his drug abuse has hurt you, maybe hurt himself. Okay, Harold, what time did you tell him to be here?
5 o'clock, but he's always late.
No, he'll be here. In 3, 2, 1.
Is this a 5 o'clock free crack giveaway?
No, folks, as always, I know that it would be nice if it was 5 o'clock free crack giveaway, but unfortunately it's 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So you're a little bit, you missed out, unfortunately at that point, you're going to have to wait till tomorrow. But either way, folks, this is the MCU'S Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast. I am the humbled co-host and the extremely less talented of the two co-hosts of the Bleeding Edge, along with my brother over here, Cybernetic Shark, the veteran YouTuber and veteran content creator that is the backbone of the Bleeding Edge when it boils down to it. I'm just here, to hang out in a minute real quick. But no, you know what? Guess we actually managed to convince Shawn Hainsworth to come back on the Bleeding Edge. He, after dominating on the panel last Wednesday and whatnot and everything, he was like, fuck it, I'll come back on. Why not? One more time, and chill with you guys again. But no, we promised last week that we were going to go ahead and actually flush out Shawn's secret identity as an actual comic book creator. Is that an apt term, Shawn?
Sure.
How would you describe it?
Comic book creator is good. I mean, I don't draw. I'm completely not talented with art. So I'm kind of a writer, publisher, and I rely on the talents of artists to bring things to life.
I feel like creator fits.
Yeah, co-creator. Yeah.
There you go. Okay. Yeah. So basically, long story short, we got Renee, Loki's mom, from the Podcast of Champions, sakar.freeforums.net, and our friends over there and whatnot. Once again, on a second Wednesday in a row, here to kind of add some moral support here with this initial segment we plan on doing. What we're going to do with some Q&A with Shawn, and basically kind of grill him a little bit and whatnot, and see if he can give us some good advice and whatnot and some tips. So if we want to follow, in his footsteps, maybe we might, become as successful as he's become. But no, Shawn has been a real sport with us and whatnot and everything. He actually was so cool that he came on the show last week and just chilled with us and hung out and everything and whatnot and had a good time. And I thought that was really cool. I really admired that about him. And at that point, Cyber, my friend, do you have any last words before we dive into this whole interview segment?
I do not, sir.
All right. Renee, you got anything for me?
No, actually, I'm looking forward to hearing from Shawn.
Okay. So, Shawn, before we launch into anything heavy here, as I mentioned to you, back in the studio, please go ahead and take some time right now and just go ahead and let everybody know who you are and put any information out there that you want to put out there.
Yeah, sure. So I skew a little older in the demographic. I was born in the 60s. I grew up in the suburbs. I was, your typical suburban brat, complete Star Wars fanatic. We watched Star Trek and Space 99 on television. And I was of that generation. I always said that my brother always had the Mad magazines around the house. We were just big fans of just, all of that, from Animal House to Caddyshack, you know, the sort of National Lampoon comedies that sort of took over in the 70s and the 80s. When I went to college in the 80s, I studied film, and I was always really interested in film. We made like Super 8 movies in the basement when we were kids, just, really goofy things. But when I went to school, they only had a documentary program. So I studied documentary. When I graduated, I ended up making, independently producing about 5 feature-length documentary films. I sort of traveled all over. I shot, one in the Philippines, one in Vietnam, one in Africa, one in Canada. So, I was just kind of using documentary film as a way to explore the world and just get out there and do something. And I had pretty good luck with those. I got them at film festivals and a couple on public television, and that was fun for a while. I really enjoyed it. But then my kids were born. I have 2 kids right now. I have a son who's 15 and a daughter who's 13. I stopped traveling around and stopped doing documentaries. I make my living computer programming, and I do a lot of. I've turned to a lot of sort of machine learning, artificial intelligence. So I'm in on sort of some of those algorithms and the way this stuff is working, and it's just exploded, obviously, which is fascinating and kind of led to Aerotech. We'll get to that. I've always wanted to write, and I always thought I would sort of make my way toward film. I ended up having a whole bunch of stories that I collected over the years. Some were screenplays, some were half-written novels. At a certain point, I just decided, I really didn't want to do the screenwriting thing. I really wanted to just produce these myself. I wanted to have control over, the stories. So I just decided to go for it. I had 3 scripts that I was ready to go with. And I reached out. I found 3 artists, and we just started putting together. Launched on Kickstarter. I've learned a lot about running Kickstarter campaigns. We've done really well on our first 2 Kickstarters, and they're just kind of slowly building the audience. But I'm in it, for the long haul. The 3, comic books, the first 2, there's a sci-fi called The Killing Machine and a comedy of horrors called Woodstake about a vampire Woodstock. Those are going to go, 2 books of about 6 or 7 issues each. So that's going to take, 3 or 4 years to put together. I'm hoping to have the first book trade paperback from both of those by the end of next year. And then Aerotech, which we'll talk about more detail. That's going to be more of an open-ended series. So it's just been an incredible learning opportunity. I've benefited enormously from, comic book creators and fans. I find people in the comic book world just really generous with their time, really open, really helpful. It's not exactly the way I found things as much, when I brushed against the film world. Comic book world is pretty down to earth, and people are great. There's a lot of incredible creators out there. So just kind of proud to count myself among them, and just keep pushing the books out there. That's my main goal, is to really focus on just keep creating the content and get it out there.
Well, I'll tell you, I actually made a couple movies too myself over in like South Vietnam and South Korea and whatnot there back in the day. They were definitely bleeding edge style type videos, and certainly a little risque. Nothing like Oscar worthy, nothing Chloe Zhao worthy, of course. But very interesting though. Nothing I want to put out like here on the bleeding edge, but definitely some fun times.
Is that when you had the ping pong act in Bangkok?
Oh yeah, yep.
Well, that was the thing about film, is it became possible to make movies in the 90s, right? With video cameras. I started out shooting film, and it was, $200 to buy and process 11 minutes of footage. So you can imagine how limiting that was. And that didn't even get you a final product, then you had to, actually, after the editing, there was, a whole nother process, and then printing, a whole nother process, and the dollars were crazy. And then all of a sudden you could do it with video, and the early Amiga computer and some of that kind of stuff, it all changed. Oh
no, honestly, Shawn, it's just like with me, man. I'm telling you right now. I've got with the equipment I've got and the setup I've got and everything, just for like my bedroom area and whatnot alone. I'm telling you, I'm throwing down videos over here like without even making an effort that like are better than porn. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm on my own. Like I'm not even a professional. You know, so I mean, hey, anything's possible.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, we're just checking on the audio here. I'm gonna see if that helps with the feedback a little bit. Yeah, no, it's really incredible. Like movies shot on iPhones are higher quality, than movies shot with $20,000 video cameras 30 years ago. So it's incredible. There's no barrier to entry really, and except taking your phone and shooting and then editing, and none of that costs much, if anything, these days. So it's pretty cool. And same thing with comic book. I mean, if you can draw, which I can't, but if you can draw, there's no barrier to entry, right? You can start getting your stuff out there. You can publish it on the web comics, all of that. So, it is kind of the rise of the creator, the independent creator. There's a lot of us out there. That's the thing that always amazes me. You go to a Comic-Con, you go down to Artist Alley, and you can just talk to people. And there's some great people down there doing some really interesting stuff. Like it's always worth spending a couple hours in Artist Alley and just meeting people, because there's some really cool creators out there.
Well, Shawn, it's funny that you mentioned iPhones. I actually just picked up a refurbished iPhone myself off one of those like alternative sites like blackmarket.com or whatever and whatnot. I only bought it just because of the video quality and the picture quality the phone was known to have, right? And honestly, man, it's an older iPhone, but the video quality on it is unbelievable. Yeah. Like I'm trying to figure out again how to live stream with that on here now too. But no. Have we detected where that feedback's coming from? Is that coming from your end, Cyber?
I have no idea.
Something. It sounds like somebody's picking up a television audio from somewhere.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like Shaw's here. The ghost of Shaw came back.
We can try muting individually and see if we can isolate it. But I don't know how much time you want to spend on that, or just keep going.
Nah, we can handle some TV background noise and shit and whatnot. We're all professionals over here.
Yeah. Cool.
But anyways,
Cyber. It's coming from Cyber. Yeah.
It's Cyber. Yep. It's you, Cyber. That's okay. That's okay. You don't have to sit in the corner. But no. So Shawn, listen, man. So basically, let me start right off by just saying that again, I do think it's very interesting. I think your whole situation is very interesting in terms of the fact that you have like really had quite a long story to get to the point where you're at right now with comic books, right? And you're sort of an interesting, like kind of not a contradiction, but you're sort of an interesting comic book creator in which, as we flushed out already last week, you're not a massive Marvel Comics fan or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like you're not, that wasn't like your main thing or whatever growing up or anything like that, or, anything like that, I mean, you have spent time in film, you have written a book, right? If not just the one, or have you written more than one?
No, most of my novels were sort of, halfway and abandoned. So Killing Machine was, 250 pages and Aerotech was 150 pages. But no, I never completed or published anything, in terms of like fiction or a novel. Oh,
okay. Okay. So I guess probably, to start things off, I guess what I'd like to kind of like start off with would be, take us back to take us back to what you were thinking or what it was, maybe that whether it was advice that someone gave you, or if it just came to you on your own, or if this was a collaborative process kind of thing where you decide all of a sudden like, hey, you know what? I'm doing whatever I'm doing. I want to go into the comic book industry.
Yeah, you know what it was? A lot of these ideas have been percolating, but I heard there was a guy who's with Scout Comics, which is another indie publisher. I forget his name, but he was talking to a bunch of screenwriters, and he was talking about intellectual property. This is where it really started to get my attention, because I live in rural Massachusetts, relatively rural Massachusetts. I've got 2 kids. I'm not picking up and moving to LA. And I'm also not like the most outgoing, kind of party network kind of guy. That's just not my style. So I was never really gonna, I think, make it in that world. But also, the thing is, if you write a screenplay, you don't own anything. The screenplay is nothing. It's not published. It doesn't exist. It's a template for a film. And if you're fortunate enough to sell a screenplay, you pretty much just say goodbye to it. Whoever buys it can do whatever they want. They can rewrite it 9 ways to Sunday. They can also, they can direct it any way they want, make it any way they want. and you don't own anything. You don't own your idea anymore. It's gone. If that, becomes something big, it's kind of like selling Superman for, whatever he sold the rights for Superman for in the 30s, $50 or something. So, what it really came down to is I really believe in these stories, and I've got what I think are some really great stories. And I didn't want to just sell them as a template for someone else to go and make. I wanted to make them and establish the intellectual property. And when I really realized that you could get stuff out there and really, put a stake in the sand and say, like, this is mine. This is how I want it to look. And I own these characters and I own this story going forward. It puts you in a much different position. A lot of screenwriters are always like perpetually insecure because you're always hoping that someone else will realize your vision for you. And if you flip that equation around and you're like, I'm going to realize my vision, it puts you in a totally different position, a position of, I don't want to say power, but a position of accomplishing something, owning something, doing something for yourself, instead of just waiting for someone to shine the ray of sunshine on you and make your life better. And that was just the magic thing for me. It was like, I'm no longer going to be pursuing other people to bring my stories to life. I'm just going to do it myself.
Okay. Cyber, Renee, do you guys have anything for Shawn at this point and whatnot? Can I throw over to you guys? Cyber, do you have anything you'd like to ask Shawn at this point? Anything you want to throw in?
Let's see. So, my question would be, the one question I thought of, where did you come up with these ideas for either Woodstake or Aerotech? What inspired you to come up with these two stories that you wanted to tell?
Yeah. So let's see. I'll start with Woodstake, and then we'll get into Aerotech, even though Aerotech's on the screen. I think with Woodstake, it really was just one of those inspirational moments of, a vampire at Woodstake, right? Ha ha ha. And the idea was just kind of funny, and I started to imagine all of the scenes, a vampire, feeding on somebody who just dropped LSD, right? So then you got a vampire on LSD, and et cetera, et cetera. And so there was a lot of fun in the idea, and similar with Aerotech, there was a lot of fun in the initial idea. But then, the important thing is to get beyond that initial idea and figure out how you're going to make the story be bigger than that, more resonant than that. Why are people going to care about these characters? And so Woodstake I did as a screenplay, and I wrote like 5 drafts of it because, and the comedy came really quickly. But the other thing, thematically, I liked it because, the hippie generation of Woodstock was like the ultimate of kind of peace, love, and, optimism, right? That we can change the world. And there's nothing more cynical than a vampire, right? Somebody just feeds on other people's life force, discards them, and moves on, and never can satisfy that hunger. It's like this perpetual destructive force. So the idea of bringing those two things together to crash, this ultimately cynical creature into a world of peace, love, and hippies, and of course the tagline is 3 days of peace, music, and blood, because the tagline for Woodstock was 3 days of peace and music. So, I had a lot of fun with that. And that was the one. So right around the time I had heard the guy from Scout Comics, I had been invited to the Austin Film Festival with Woodstake. So Woodstake was selected as a, second rounder at Austin. And Austin's a great festival for screenwriters because they have a lot of meet and greets with producers and agents and a lot of, sessions on how-tos. It's a great festival to learn how to do stuff. And I actually had a stage reading of the first 6 pages, which was fun. Like actors stood up on stage and read through the first 6 pages. And that one I really thought, potentially, maybe I could do something with it. But as I was there, once again, I realized I didn't want to see someone else do it. I wanted to see myself do it. I wanted to bring this to life myself. And so, honestly, while I was at the festival in some of these sessions, I was like on my phone looking at artists and looking at, trying to find a horror artist that I thought could capture in a very unique way, the story. So Yeah, so that was Woodstake. And then Aerotech, similar in the sense, I love how I'm just like staring at this ass while making this whole conversation.
Aha!
I know you've done that on purpose.
That's my fault. That's my fault, man. I apologize.
It's a little distracting. Anyway,
Yep.
Aerotech, yeah, I mean, I work in the tech industry, in the software industry, and it just, once again, the idea came to me about what would it actually be like to be on a tech team trying to design a sex robot, an actually working sex robot, not a sex doll that just sits there, but one with artificial intelligence, one with, motors and moving parts and, simulating an actual human being. I mean, just imagine debugging it, right? Like ultimately, and the scene we're looking at now, you can do all the simulations you want, but at some point you've got to put the robot in a room with a real person and see what happens. And so, here we've got Steve, testing this robot, and you can see the control room with, all the engineers up in the control room. And of course, things go badly for poor Steve. And but so that was the first scene, and I wrote that scene in the novel like in one night. It was just funny, and I did it, and I loved it. But then I needed to follow it up. I needed a protagonist. I needed a good character. It couldn't just be. It's not aiming to be kind of pornographic. It's aiming to be a comedy, sort of an edgy comedy, like something like The Office or Silicon Valley. So a lot of the comedy in here, or a lot of the story in here, if you roll forward, once we get past this first scene, it's a lot of office scenes. It's people in a conference room and whatever. And I think that stuff, holds up in terms of the writing, the humor, the characters. And it really tells the story of one young, executive named Samantha, who's kind of a recent, Ivy League grad, Yale School of Management, who ends up in this company, run by, a bunch of, guys who don't really respect her, don't take her seriously, aren't particularly good at their jobs. Her immediate manager would rather be on the golf course. The boss is always on his cell phone and isn't paying attention to the details. The technologists mostly cover their ass and don't really care about whether things work or not. That's Samantha on the right. She's the one, ultimately trying to make her way through this and actually try to launch this robot in a successful way. But she's running up against obstacle after obstacle, and there's a lot of humor in it. So it really is Samantha's story. It starts with a bang, as you saw, and we do come back to Steve and the robot at the end, but really aiming to make it a blend of, office comedy with, with some edgy raunchiness, but all tied to what would it be like to make a sex robot. And we didn't do the sex robot as really sexy. We don't expect you to be turned on by those scenes. In fact, a lot of time we try to make the robot kind of a little weird, like not quite real, and the skin bends in a strange way, and when they turn her off, she kind of flops over at a completely unnatural angle, and there's something kind of creepy about her. We're definitely going for more than just erotica or a quick turn on kind of thing.
Okay, Renee, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I had read through Aerotech, and I agree. It was really funny. I really got the jokes. I like how she comes up with the idea. Well, maybe we should market a lesbian model, to increase our market. And then the guys, oh yeah, that would mean you'd have to buy 2 dolls and one. They're totally thinking in terms of how they're going to react to 2 lesbians, having sex together. So I thought that was just hilarious. How you kind of got the puerile nature of these, as you say, these mid-level, techies or whatever they are, who just really aren't that interested in sex. Tell you the truth, they're just more, or erotica. They're just interested in, Playboy sex, common porn. And so I thought that was pretty clever. Yeah, the other 2 I read through. Now the killing machine. Yes, I read through the Killing Machine. That one I thought was kind of like more like a standard, the type of story that you'd probably get anywhere. Right now, I'm not getting any. And I don't mean to be critiquing you like this. I'm just giving you my honest opinion. It's just there's something maybe a little bit more to that one that needs to happen. I think you said that it's part of a series, so that makes perfect sense there. And then Woodstake, I haven't really had a chance to read through, but I did scan through it a little bit, and I really like the artwork. I like the that was really kind of different. I've never seen that before. Whereas you sort of see the others is more common. The style is more common. So yeah, I was really impressed with actually all three. And I know this is what the first three you've done. Or have you done more than that?
No, these are the first three, and thank you. I really appreciate that. And yeah, the Killing Machine is a little bit of a harder sell in the sense of it's going to take 3 issues before the kind of scope of the story is revealed. So yeah, you're absolutely right. The first issue seems a little more typical. And I'm actually working out, just finishing up the script for issue 3 right now. 2 is going to be out probably in August or September. And I hope once we get to issue 3, it's gonna, it's kind of got a big concept behind it. I don't really like to use the term cerebral science fiction because it implies that it's not fun and there's not actions and battles and that sort of thing. But there is a big concept behind this, and it takes 2 or 3. It's going to take 3 issues really to get it all out there. But yeah, and the artists are very different. This guy, Michel Fortin, he's up in Quebec, in northern Quebec. He's like a 4th generation farming family kid who just always loved to draw.
Yeah, Shawn, if you don't mind, that's what I wanted to ask you. Since I've got that page already pulled up, could you kind of just lay out to us who we're talking about here?
Yeah, so Darren Escape, written by Darren Escape, that's me. So I took a pen name, so I'm Darren Escape for these 2, and I changed it to Darren X Cape for Eratech because it's X-rated, kind of. Michel Fortin's the artist for Killing Machine, and I hooked up with this great letterer named SK. He's an Australian comic book creator. Really good letterer. It's funny, when Michel was doing this, I loved the art, but I was looking at the lettering that he did, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really like this. I hope I don't offend him. But I said, I really would like to get someone else to do the lettering. And he was like, oh, thank God, because I'm not very good at it, So that was great. And I think S really improved everything. Michael Williams, great guy, runs a podcast. And I just, I need someone to, mostly proofread me and just double check everything in the script, because the last thing I wanted to do was send it off to the printer with typos and all of that. So Michael was great, but that's the team for this one.
Okay. And honestly, Shawn, if you could just really quick, I don't want you to delve too heavily into this. What would you say the difference would be from team to team with the different titles?
It's really what I thoroughly enjoy is that it's the artist and I really working out panel by panel, page by page, the way the story is told. So for this one, if you roll down, a little bit just to get into the story, I wrote this one because this was the first one that I wrote. I wrote it, pretty specific panel by panel. I really had an idea, of how I wanted it to look and how I wanted the story to be told. And what's really great about comics, comics are amazing. The capacity for visual storytelling is really interesting because, you have to think about how much time passes between panel and panel. It could be, milliseconds. It could be 5 or 10 minutes, right? And and the way you're shifting angles or focus or going into a super close up and coming back. People who read comics have just developed, I think, a real sophistication for processing visual information and visual storytelling. So I had a lot of fun with Michel going, with all the artists going back and forth. Like I wrote it the way I saw it, and then they would come back with sketches and we would go over them. And, it really was a collaboration. We would just kind of work it out to the point where, we felt like the story was being told as clearly and as interestingly as possible. I never wanted someone to look at a panel and think, what the hell is that? Or, what's happening? I want it to flow where you open the comic book and you're at the end and it was just a smooth process of reading through it. So that's what I worked really hard on with all the artists.
Shawn, really quick, we have the Kickstarter backers right here. Okay. I feel like that would be a great tie-in really quick. If you want to just really quick explain what that's about,
Yeah.
and then sort of like maybe connect that to what Kickstarter's been for you in terms of like producing your comics.
Yeah, Kickstarter is honestly the lifeblood of independent creators, small creators. Because just from a marketing perspective or a money perspective, I've run 2 Kickstarter campaigns as an unknown creator before this, and I've raised about $11,000 on Kickstarter. The margins on selling a comic book, you're lucky if you can get $1 out of a physical copy, and it's less for digital copies. So I would have to have sold 11,000 comic books, to make the money that I made on Kickstarter. I can't sell 11,000 comic books. I haven't got the relationships with comic book stores. I don't have the relationships with the distributors. I haven't really set up my digital marketing yet. So Kickstarter, people, the fans who back indie creators on Kickstarter, like you are making these comics come to life. You are supporting the people directly. The money's going right to them. And that, the money is being spent to pay the artists, because I pay all my artists like a good rate. I don't try to, pay people sub rates. I want the artists, I value their work and I want them to be paid for their work. And it goes into the printing costs and advertising for the Kickstarter, that sort of thing. So, Kickstarter is just great. If you go on, there's so many comics, so many great creators. But if you back somebody on Kickstarter, you get a lot more stuff, right? So I'm always sending people, special behind the scenes stuff, stickers, swag, bookmarks, whatever, variant covers. We try to do as much as we can to make the people who back us feel valued and feel like they're a part of the process. And you're getting updates all the time. And some of my Kickstarter backers are now characters. I've used their face, as characters in the stories going forward. So it's just a great relationship where people support you. And that's really what's keeping me going in terms of getting these things produced.
Well, let me go back around the table here. Renee, starting with you, then go over to you, Cyber. Since we've got it looks like about 20 minutes here to work with before we finish this segment up and whatnot. If you guys have any last questions and whatnot, anything you'd like to ask Shawn before we sort of wrap it up, with like maybe a final 10 plus minutes or whatnot, where we kind of just, try to give Shawn a chance to kind of drop his final words and whatnot and get what he wants to put out there. What do you got, Renee? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I was going to ask Shawn, how much have you been going around to the regional Comic Cons and selling there and sort of getting your name out there, passing cards around, whatnot, and networking?
Yeah, I've been doing that somewhat. I haven't been going, I didn't go to San Diego, and I haven't been going to the big ones. I've gone to, there was one in Boston I'm going to be going to one, locally. The problem with the Comic Cons, the Comic Cons are great, and being at Comic Cons is great because number one, I'm a fan and I like to walk around and I like to meet people and I like to look at other people's stuff and I like to buy shit. So that's all great. In terms of the money, if you go into Artist Alley, it's a little cheaper, but you're still, you're paying for the table and everything else. And so, yeah, you come away with a little bit of money, but it's more that you're getting your comic book out there, talking to people, hopefully making fans for the future. If you're not an Artist Alley, if you're up where all the vendors are, it can be expensive. And I would say, from what I've talked to other creators, if you're selling 25, 30 copies, a day at a con, you're doing pretty good. If you're an unknown, relatively unknown person, so if you're making a couple bucks on each comic book, and you sell 30 a day, you're making $60 a day. You can do t-shirts and this and that and the other thing. There's all kinds of ways to monetize it, better. And I'm just kind of learning, but, it also is just a lot of time, it's like, if you're going to go to San Diego, you got to fly there, you got to get a hotel, you got to spend 3 days there. And with my day job and my kids and everything else, it's harder to do that. So I have done it. I like it. I would love to do more. I love talking to fans or potential fans or other creators or, whatever, but it's all just about time and money ultimately.
Okay. Cybernetic Shark?
The inspiration for the artwork that you decided to go with for the 3 comic books, I was curious, what was your thoughts process on that? Like, what were you trying to go for and did you achieve it?
Yeah, and actually, I think it'd be interesting to look at the art styles and the different ones. So, if you want to bring up Killing Machine first, we can talk about that one, and then we can look at the other ones real quick, because I think each artist is really different, and they have different styles and they have different working methods. That's actually the great thing about not drawing is that I can see these things realized in totally different styles. So, for example, in Killing Machine, Michel is just really creative. He loves to, with creating ships and alien technology and, all that kind of stuff. Like I will write, for example, I'll write something like, the main character is jacked into the computer and that's all I'll write. And then he's got like, the jack, the cable, the equipment, the computer, he does all of that and he loves to do all that. He does a great job. His stuff is, much more realistic. It's sort of classic ink and color, but with his colors, he'll do like 60, 70 layers in Photoshop. He's doing, kind of washes, and then he's doing highlights, and then he's doing more highlights, and then he's, pulling in, this, that, and the other thing. And, he sent me some of his files. I was like, oh my gosh, right? It's like layer upon layer upon layer upon layer in Photoshop. Whereas Philippe Kroll, he's a young guy. He's like 24. He's in Brazil. He has a totally different process for woodstake. He does sort of 3D modeling initially in order to just get everything where it's going to go. And that makes him really creative with his camera angles. Like he'll, once he gets a model, he'll start rolling the camera around the model. And so I've actually sent him like storyboards that I've sketched out, much more like a film storyboard. But once he has a 3D model, he does not ink or anything. He just paints. He digitally paints on top of it. And it's got a really nice paint style where you're seeing, paint strokes. It's not hyper realistic. We've been working, one thing I'm aiming for is that every comic book will be better than the last one in terms of, the more we learn, the better we can get in terms of the art, the better I can get in terms of the story. We're trying to make each one improve on the last one. So, Philippe, he's been playing around with keeping things a little rougher, a little more, paint strokes and that kind of thing. But his art's fantastic. And his sense of color is wonderful. There's a scene in a diner in issue 2, and he's just got that kind of chrome and, these kind of deep blues and, the black and white checkerboard of the tile floor. He's just got it all. He's really great. And then finally, Jeffrey Kroshek, who did Aerotech. He's really experienced. Philippe is young and learning. Jeffrey's been doing this for a long time. And he comes out of that Mad Magazine kind of world as well. But in that one, we were looking for a kind of Mad Men-esque look. So, even though it's set a little bit in the future, we wanted, kind of the color scheme in the office and all of that to have us kind of a retro feel. And he's great with color. If you look at the colors in Aerotech, they're just amazing. And he'll just do, like, I don't know if you remember that shot of Steve, in the office asking for a raise, but he's got this beautiful blue wash on it. And he's really great with color. So it's been great with all of them. They all have different approaches. They all have different styles, but I feel like when I chose them, I felt like they were the ones to tell that story and that they could tell that story really well.
Okay.
So many great artists out there. If you're a writer, you can find so many great artists out there. Like, go to Artist Alley and just look at people's stuff. Go online. There's so many talented people out there, and worldwide, right? So Philippe's in Canada, Philippe's in Brazil, and Michelle's in Canada, and you can find people anywhere, and super talented people out there.
Okay, and you know what? At that point, Shawn, let me just ask you. I have another question for you, and then after that, I'm just going to kind of throw it over to you and kind of let you, like, write it out
Yeah.
for the rest of the segment. But I guess the last thing I would pretty much ask you would be essentially, I guess, a very obvious question. What would you say ultimately would be, now that you've gotten to the point that you've gotten to, right? What is the next step for Shawn Hainsworth, essentially, as far as like, I'm not asking you to go too far out, you know what I mean? But like, where do you want to go with this?
I can give you a very simple answer. I love doing this. I want to be sustainable, right? So I can run 3 Kickstarters a year. If I can build my audience, a little bit more and keep building the Kickstarter support to the point where I can pay my artists, cover the printing costs, and keep writing these stories, I'm going to be happy. So I'm not looking to, I think these are really good stories and I just want to complete them. Like I've got 5 more issues of Woodstake before book 1 is done. And I've got like 5 more issues of Killing Machine till book 1 is done. That's a lot of work. And Aerotech as well. We're thinking like 5 issues for the first story. So I just want to be able to keep doing this. What happens with the stories long-term? I have no idea, but I own the IP. So if somebody wants to make, a TV series or a movie out of it, that's great. They can do that, but then it comes back to me, right? So I don't have to give it up. If someone makes a good movie, great. If someone makes a bad movie, well, whatever, there's still the comic book. But I just love the process. Really, I find it so creatively satisfying to bring these stories to life with these, different talented artists. That's all I want, is just to be able to keep going.
Hey, you know what? I think that's great. And I mean, do you feel like, you're pretty much like set on trying to go as far as you can with the titles you've already put together? Do you feel like you have anything like else out there, like maybe laying around that you'd like to put into play?
I have 10 stories ready to go. Like other screenplays, other, snippets of novels and everything. I actually have been keeping a list of all the stories I have, but it's really, I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. Like I can only afford to keep the 3 artists going right now. Between all the stuff I'm doing, I'm like writing now. I've got to keep writing. Like I need to deliver pages to each of these artists. And so I don't want to get too spread out. I have another, I have a bunch that I feel really positive about, but another horror seems to be really popular. A lot of people like horror. So I've got another horror title, kind of waiting in the wings. And that's probably the next one that I'll bring out. But that'll probably be next year.
Well, hey, as far as I'm concerned, man, I mean, at least for me, as far as what my tastes are, I don't know about Cyber and Renee, but I happen to love sci-fi. I happen to love horror, and I happen to love anything involving sex bots and like R-rated type material. Like I'm all about that shit, So at that point, like, I mean, you're a good fit for me. And I'll tell you, I think it's actually a really interesting connection in that, and that was one of the first things I mentioned to Zach, your rep, was basically just the fact that, I really like the fact that, you are producing a comic book series that does have a 17 plus age, sticker or whatever you want to call it, or thing right in there, saying that essentially it's an adult style comic book. And at that point, I feel like it really connects with what we do on the Bleeding Edge, because we are, of course, as far as we know, I think the only other MCU Marvel fandom type YouTube channel or podcast that is R-rated and that's not for kids. We tone it down most of the time, for you decent folks, Shawn. We don't want to scare anybody, you know what I mean? But on other shows, things get a little bit interesting. And you know what? At the end of the day, I just think that's a cool thing to have in common, right? I'm not saying that we're fighting the good fight over here together or something like that, right? Or on a moral crusade or something or whatever. But it is interesting. And like I said, why don't I go ahead and just throw to you at this point, and why don't you take the rest of the time we have and just go ahead and express it, whatever you feel like maybe we haven't asked you yet or whatever, like, that you feel like is important, that you'd like to put out there, you know what I mean? And I want to just put out there, folks, that Shawn was very patient and was more than happy to work with me whenever I asked him and whatnot to talk to me on the phone or whatever and answer my questions and whatnot and everything, and let me take some notes here and there so I could understand exactly what was going on with this whole story, how this all worked out, with him and whatnot, his comics. He worked with me 100%, and he's been a great sport. And as far as I'm concerned, he's been a great guest. And like I said, at that point, Shawn, please, if there's anything you want to illuminate, if you'd like to talk anything else, explain anything else about not necessarily your team, but your collaborations, as you explained to me earlier today, that you have with your different artists and whatnot and everything, which I found very interesting. Anything like that, please go ahead.
Yeah, what's interesting with the 17 plus, that's why you're an indie creator, right? Because when I was actually writing the novel, I got halfway through it and I'm like, who is going to read this, right? It's like, how am I going to find a publisher for this? It's not softcore porn. But it's too raunchy for, how am I going to get this out in the world? And that's when I kind of gave up on it, the novel. But as an indie creator, you can do what you want because you're finding your audience directly and you don't have to go through those gatekeepers. But, when I was so I did a local signing at one of my comic book shops and I mentioned Aerotech and the guy's like, yeah, we can't do that. And I saw why, because I was there on a Saturday and it was kind of great. Like all these parents and grandparents are bringing their kids in, 7 years old, 8-year-old, go pick a comic, go pick 2 comics, and that's where your future readers are coming from. And that's a lot of their business. And so, they don't have the back room and they don't want the back room. That's not their crowd. So I totally get that. But being an independent, you can find outlets somewhere else. So that's the great thing. It doesn't have to fit, a mold. And yeah, this story has to be told 17 plus. It can't be any other way. So, and in terms of I think we talked a little bit about the relationships with the different creators. They're just all very different and all great. I mean, Jeff is really a professional, Jeffrey Kroshik, and he did a full ash can to the whole comic book, just sketches of every panel, every page. And we would sit there and we would go through every panel and every page and decide exactly how we're going to change things before he inked. So when he got to the inking phase, there was nothing left for me to do. I was just waiting for him to ink, color, and letter, and we were done.
Shawn, you were really tripping everybody out there for a minute, man. Everybody thought for a minute you're talking about my ass.
Yeah. We discussed it page by page, panel by panel. We spent hours talking about it.
Well, Jeff kind of looks a little bit like you're the human test subject.
A little bit like Steve.
Really? Oh, thanks a lot. I really appreciate that, Renee. That's a real compliment.
You can play Steve in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a Steve, without question.
Yeah. So no, just in the few minutes left, I just want to, really say thank you to you for taking the time. You were generous with your time too, really generous in terms of, reaching out and understanding what I was doing and bringing me into the fold. And, even not being the biggest Marvel guy, and bringing me in. So I really, really appreciate that and giving me a chance to talk about what I'm doing.
Listen, man, every time that you spend time, hanging out with me and talking to me, that keeps me away from being detrimental to society overall. You know what I mean?
It's a public service.
There you go. I mean, just think about it. You may have saved potentially dozens of women at this point. Not to mention how much alcohol I would have drank at that time. You know what I mean? You may have saved my liver.
Well, you get brownie points in heaven for hanging with Jeff.
There you go.
Yeah, in heaven. Yeah, I'll expect them when I get there.
That's right. Because I am the most long-winded asshole you're gonna find, basically, right? When it boils down to it. Let's be honest here. If I was a character in one of your comic books, I'm telling you right now, I would not be popular. So no, Shawn, I really appreciate that and whatnot. You're very kind. But honestly, man, I hope you know that no matter what, you always have a spot here on the Bleeding Edge. If you ever want to just come on, and if you ever want to call me and tell me, you know what, Jeff, I decided to sit down and watch Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame back to back last night, and I slammed them bitches out, and it was awesome. And I was like all night dancing and shit and pumping my fists and everything and whatnot and everything. and I'm ready to rock and roll, man. I want to do a show and talk about this shit.
Well, I do have to come back and talk about those 2 movies because
and Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
yes, which I have not seen since it came out probably a long time ago. But and to all your your loyal fans and viewers out there, go support indie comics, and if you can, do it on Kickstarter because your dollars go a lot further than they go elsewhere. I'm going to be starting another Kickstarter, I think in September. We're going to have Woodstake 2, maybe Woodstake 2 and 3, Killing Machine 2, and a special Aerotech that you can only get on Kickstarter, a special 12-page story from Aerotech. So and we try to, like I said, be really kind to our backers. So support indie comics.
Just like I like to be really kind to my buddy Wise over here real quick. I just like to drop him into some shit where he doesn't know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, yo, what up, bro?
I have no clue what's going on. What's going on?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I could have.
El Jefe.
That just go. There you go, Shawn. There's my professionality for you right there. Like, I could have let him just hang out, but instead I threw him right in here anyway.
Yeah, that's
How's
good.
everybody doing today?
Doing good.
Excellent.
Shawn,
so I'm going to sign off and let you guys talk about San Diego.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Yeah, Shawn, it was great to have you, brother.
You later, Shawn.
Yeah, and thank you again to everybody.
No problem. Yeah. Renee, I'll talk to you soon, hon.
Okie dokie. All right, guys, I got to run too.
All right.
Just love all of you, and sorry, El Jefe, another time.
All right, well, next time. Get stoned for me, Renee. All right, Shawn, take care, brother. There he is. What's up, Wise?
What's going on, brother?
Oh, man. Hey, I had to just throw you into that awkward spot, man, just because you're my buddy. You know what I mean? And like, hey, when I like you a lot and whatnot, and you're my friend for a long time and shit, I gotta fuck with you.
It's all good, man. I don't take that personal.
Hey, man, Cyber even remembers you, man.
What's going on, Cyber? How you doing, brother?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm doing well, man. Can't complain.
Awesome. Great to have you on. Yeah, I think this is actually, I feel this is the first time I've been on and you have been on at the same time.
Yes. Me and Cyber haven't done a show now. We know of each other. You're always talking about Cyber, but yeah.
I could have swore that there was maybe one show or whatever where you guys.
It was I can't remember his name. I can't.
Are you talking about our old co-host Perry?
No, I don't think Perry was his name.
Oh, I can't even remember. Honestly, Wise, we've done so many sporadic shows on the Bleeding Edge that there's been an entire different cast of characters between now and then. You know what I mean?
Yeah, last time I came on, you was co-hosting with I can't remember her name either.
Alexis.
Yes, Alexis. Yes.
Oh yeah, Alexis. Yep, that's right. Wise, brother, listen. Before we get into the events of San Diego Comic-Con and the Marvel Studios panel, brother, how you been doing, man? What's been going on? Tell everybody out there, what's going on these days with you, man?
Bro, I'm just chilling, man. I went to Podfest in May, had a great experience there. The podcast is doing well. I'm actually gonna launch a show on the BS3 network on Roku. Me and my nephew doing a TV show Friday nights at 11 p.m. Got the internet radio station, the production company. Just keeping busy, brother, man. Just keeping busy.
That's right. And if I can ever catch up with this guy, he's a busy guy. If I can ever catch up with him for 10 minutes and he can try to help my stupid ass figure out how to get our show on that damn radio station, I promise we're going to try to do it at some point.
I told you my days off from my regular job is Thursday, Friday. See, I still work my regular job and I'm still building my business as well. So.
Well, I'm not as sophisticated as Wise is when it comes to this technology stuff, okay? He's a little bit far ahead of me, you know? So,
all it is with me is I just YouTube it, man. When I don't know something, I YouTube it, and I learn from there.
I do too, man, but I still have a hard time.
I have my moments.
Well, anyways, listen. Enough catching up with Wise. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it to you, Cyber. You got the rest of the show, brother. I'm done. I'm just gonna sit here and enjoy my alcoholic beverage here I've been working hard for the last hour, so it's on you, sir.
All
Well,
right.
I find that hard to believe, though.
Hey, you know what? I
find that hard to believe that you was working real hard, brother.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I know. He tends to come up with some interesting ideas there, talking about working. Yeah, like he does that. Never.
Wise, you know what? One last thing. What do you think of my Bandmade poster, man? Do you like that shit?
Yeah, man. You, every time I see you, you got something different new in your studio, man. You're always changing it around.
I can't even imagine what people think the hell that is. They're like, what the fuck is Bandmade?
Hey, listen. It's all good. It looks good, though.
Yeah, it does look good. Hey, there's nothing wrong with nothing wrong with 5 hot young Japanese chicks with like with guitars and shit in their hands. You know what I mean?
Hey, yeah, can't. Like I said, it doesn't hurt the eyes.
There you go. And just so you know, folks, we may be suddenly surprised by Gunner, the co-host of Snap and MCU podcast, or Lord Deathman may even decide to bless us with his presence at some point here. In the meantime, we're gonna rock it out together. And once again, Cyber, have at it.
All right. So, over this past weekend, folks, there out in the great streaming land, San Diego Comic-Con took place. And on Friday, Saturday, they had the Great Marvel panel, which introduced to us some great fun things coming from the Great Marvel Studios. So, over those 2-day course, they basically discussed about phases 5 and 6 finally. We finally have an end to phase 4, because I know a lot of people out there were probably like, oh, when is phase 4 going to end? Because it seems like phase 4 has been going on for a really long time now. So, this was something that a lot of people are looking for. And I think what we have coming up, it looks like it's going to be really fun. It looks like we're going to get back into that feeling of what the Infinity Saga gave us, from Iron Man 1 up to Endgame. And it looks like what they're going to be producing out here in the next couple years is going to be really fun. So before we really get into the meat, I want to just go around the panel and ask a quick question. First off, what was your thoughts on all of a sudden them giving us phase 5 and 6, pretty much giving us all of phase 5 at least, but phase 6, of course, is still kind of the process. They only have 3 films, out for that one. But what were your initial thoughts on the timeline that they gave us for phases 5 and 6?
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
Yes, sometimes good, sometimes it's shit.
Yeah.
Anyways, Wise, your thoughts, sir?
Oh man, I'm just excited that they finally announced Fantastic Four, and they have a lot of open dates. So Phase 6 is going to be interesting. I want to know what because obviously Blade is coming out in Phase 5, the Marvels are coming out in Phase 5, all the ones that we already kind of knew were coming out, led by the Ant-Man and Wasp and Quantum Madness, whatever it's called. But I'm looking forward to, what I want to see. I want to see the mutants.
Yeah, that was actually a big question that a lot of people were asking. I've seen a lot of posts and so forth that why wasn't there any mention of mutants at all, or the X-Men and stuff like that.
Kamala Khan's a mutant now, right?
Yes, that's the kind of the beginning of it, yeah. But you would expect that they would at least give something like a little teaser, even though with having Patrick Stewart and Doctor Strange and all that, and of course Reed Richards and everyone else. So I'm just looking forward to see what the MCU does with the X-Men and whatever else they got planned.
Yeah, what's actually interesting is there's an article that I was shown earlier today about how when 20th Century Fox sold the rights back to Marvel with their acquisition of 20th Century Fox, apparently up until 2025, they cannot replace any of the actors that have previously played other X-Men characters until their contract expires. So That being said, I think that is the reason why Marvel hasn't pushed the X-Men so quickly, is because they have to use the old actors up till 2025. They can't recast them. They have to be, it's in their contract that they stay that character till the year 2025. So that's probably why we're not seeing a lot of also empty space in Phase 6, is because they're waiting for that time to expire to be able to kind of move on. So that's another huge rumor going around there, and reason why we haven't seen the X-Men or mutants really yet is because of that clause that was in that acquisition when Disney bought 20th Century Fox for the X-Men franchise. Jeff, your thoughts, sir? Your initial thoughts on when you did your research, sir?
Well, I mean, basically, I'm kind of surprised by all of these changes as far as the fact that they decided to go ahead and kill Phase 4 as quickly as they're going to, and then go into Phase 5, right? And then Phase 5 is going to be so short; it's going to be like less than a year and a half long, and they're going to go right into Phase 6. And then, if I understand this correctly, what? Hold on, let me look if I understand this correctly. So, essentially, they're telling us right now that we're going to get. Essentially, let's see here. Besides the Captain America 4 is going to be coming out in 2024, which of course I'm extremely excited about, whatnot and everything. That's too long though. I wanted it quicker than that. But no, Phase 6 confirmed. We'll begin the Fantastic Four, end with Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, and Secret Wars.
They're actually releasing them in the same year, so that's kind of like within the same year. So
they went ahead and said and declared that they're going to do the Avengers, the Kang Dynasty, in Phase 6.
Yes.
Well,
so they made it official that they're going to do Avengers 5 in
5 and 6. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? That is right there. That's a fucking game changer, man. Like that's huge.
We all knew that there was going to be more Avenger films. Just cast, you know.
I know, but still, I know it's not the same thing as the X-Men thing, but still, to finally actually know for sure when we'll get them, you know.
Yeah, and Kang Dynasty already has a director attached to it too, as well.
Really?
Yeah, Daniel Cretton, who directed Shang-Chi, is directing.
Oh, you got to be kidding
5.
me!
Nope.
No shit, Daniel Cretton.
Yep.
Wow, Jesus. Okay, that's a big stretch. Whatever, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what? I don't know the guy. You know, I mean, Cyber, you're very aware of what my thoughts were about Shang-Chi and whatnot and everything, and they haven't changed. You know what I'm saying? Like, the heart hasn't mended or whatever when it comes to Shang-Chi over time. You feel me? Good movie, but inconsistent, and like the ending was kind of stupid, and Aquafina didn't do shit for me. You know, if Aquafina is going to be on the next Avengers team, well, you know what? I'm going to wear a paper bag on my head when I go watch it in the theaters. Okay, as a side of like my what I think of Aquafina on the Avengers.
I'll double bag you. How about that? Yeah.
Hey, listen, I don't like being double bagged, bro. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
yes,
I'm not even down.
Hey,
I'm not even down with.
What about the other night when you said teabag you?
No, I'm not even down with one bag, baby. Double bag? I don't know if I can handle that, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's too restrictive for me. All right, you know.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just saying. No, but I mean, hey, you know, as far as I'm concerned, I like what I'm seeing. I mean, you know, it seems very interesting. I mean, I don't know. I'll tell you right now, I can't wait to actually go on YouTube and watch whatever. Did they have whatever presentation they had or whatever where they announced all this shit? I'd love to watch it. I wish they would have done like a Disney Plus Day event type deal with Kevin Feige, where he would have delivered all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I loved it when he did that.
Well, don't forget, this is just San Diego Comic-Con too as well, so there will be another Disney Plus Day too as well.
Yeah.
So Kevin Feige will probably be doing something with the shows.
They probably didn't want to release everything just now and save something for the Disney show, for the Disney event that they have.
Exactly.
Which is coming up. Not that it's coming up real soon anyway.
Yep. Very true. Very soon. I believe. I think it's September. I believe.
Yeah.
So where does the Eternals 2 fit into this?
That we have no idea. Same thing with Shang-Chi too. which they have greenlit anyways. They have greenlit Shang-Chi 2. They have greenlit Eternals 2. Both of those were, things that they said they're going to do. But those could be a part of that Phase 6 part that we haven't seen yet, because there's a lot of openings, like we mentioned, in Phase 6 still. So we just don't know what they're going to do yet, because that could be where they put maybe they fit those into it finally. Because if I remember correctly, like with the Marvels, which is Captain Marvel 2, Doctor Strange 2, both of those two films were something that they kept secret until very close to when they were supposed to come out, and that they're officially going to do them. So I have a feeling that's what's going to happen with Eternals 2 and with Shang-Chi 2, or any of the other sequels that they might do to some of the other characters. I know a lot of people are clamoring for a Black Widow 2. A lot of people are clamoring for another Iron Man. With the success of Thor, Love and Thunder, people are wondering, when are we going to get a fifth Thor film? But we just don't know, and so those Eternals really is going to come into play with Blade. With Blade coming out next November, maybe there's something in Blade that will lead to us finding out maybe where the future of the Eternals goes. Because Black Knight end credit scene in Eternals, he hears Blade talking to him, so there's got to be connection there. With the Eternals too.
Well, if I can connect with anybody from the Captain Marvel 2, I would want to connect with Kamala Khan, I think, Miss Marvel, really quick on a private level, over Brie Larson any day. You know what I'm saying? Hey, the actress is 20 years old, so I know Miss Marvel's 16, but the actual actress is 20, so she's legit. She's legal.
Yeah, we know. Anyways, so.
But then you also have, I'm excited with Daredevil coming out as well. You have Daredevil coming out.
That's
Echo.
right.
I want to check out Echo. Echo seems like it's gonna be good. She was a great character in Hawkeye.
What? What do you mean? Just because of what? Just because all the intense facial, like dirty facial.
Listen, she was kicking ass. She was kicking ass.
So that actually leads me to my next question. For you guys, what of the Phase 4 and Phase 5 and Phase 6? What movie and TV series are you looking forward to the most? Starting with you, Jeff.
First I got to do this real quick with Wilfredo. Wilfredo is a huge Moon Knight fan. Okay, huge Moon Knight fan. Wilfredo, I'm sorry, bro, but after like episode 3 of the Moon Knight series, bro, that shit went to hell, man. It did. It went bad, man.
It was. Listen, the ending kind of. Being that I read the comic and all that, I knew about the other personality and all that, so it wasn't a surprise, the ending. But I do enjoy. I enjoy the comic book, but it wasn't really the series I was looking forward to.
There it is. He called it the same thing I said. It wasn't what I wanted as a fan to Moon Knight. That's not what I wanted. Exactly what I said.
It's not even that, but it's not even. It wasn't really the. I'm like, the thing I want to see is I want to see Blade. I want to see the Sons of Midnight.
Yep, me too. Midnight Suns. Yep.
Yeah, Midnight Suns. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you watch it? I thought the Miss Marvel series was better than Moon Knight.
A lot of people didn't like the Miss Marvel series. So I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. It was cool.
Yeah, it was very good. Now, as far as your question, Cyber, you want to know what would be my top pick from Phase 5 or Phase 6?
So my question was, what movie are you looking
forward
forward to the most between Phase 5 and 6? And what TV series are you looking forward to seeing between Phase 5 and 6?
Okay, I'd say, without question, like Daredevil, the Daredevil series, even though I am scared, because it's going to be on Disney Plus, so I am scared about how that's going to work, as opposed to like the Netflix version of Daredevil, right? That's definitely it. You can't help but be a little bit worried about that. Then She-Hulk probably after that would be right beneath that. And then as far as movies go, hey, you already know what's up with that, baby. Let me here. I'll make it very clear right now. See that gentleman right up there? That nice, clean, attractive black man up there with those fucking cool ass wigs and shit. That shield. That just happens to be fucking Captain America, baby. And you know what? The poster's not there for no reason. You know what I'm saying? I'm worried. I'm thinking about. I care about Captain America 4, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to rock and roll, baby. Sam Wilson all day. I'm waiting for the Russo brothers to come back to direct that bitch too. They might as well. Why not? Turn that bitch into a damn masterpiece. Besides that, I'd say probably the Thunderbolts film, man, has a lot of potential.
All right, thank you. Wise, your top picks.
I'm definitely looking forward to Blade. I'm definitely looking forward to Blade. And
hell yeah, Wise. I didn't even think about Blade.
And I'm a big Cap fan, and so I'm excited for the new World Order. So Captain America: New World Order is the movie. Well, they both movies, right? So
yeah,
it was. I Blade, because I got a glimpse of Sam Wilson already as Cap, but yeah, Blade would be the one.
How about
And
TV series?
See, you mentioned Iron Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually looking forward to, because they showed the glimpse of her in
Ironheart.
Yes, but they showed they showed the glimpse in Wakanda Forever. So I'm definitely looking forward to that and see what how that goes.
Cool, thank you. So Phase 5, we all know, starts now with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium, which comes out February, and then this Phase 5 will conclude with Thunderbolts on July 26th of 2024. So that phase, which will include this TV series Secret Invasion, we'll get Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 finally. We get Loki Season 2. We get Echo, the Marvels film, Blade film, the Ironheart TV series. We have Agatha, Coven of Chaos, which is the spinoff from WandaVision of that character. They're saying either winter or spring, either winter 2023 or spring 2024. Not 100% sure yet. They might release it. Who knows? Maybe January, like they did with WandaVision. We never know. Then we have Captain America: New World Order coming out in May. Then Daredevil: Born Again, and then Thunderbolts. So in Phase 5, we have quite a few sequels to films coming out. Ant-Man, The Marvels, Captain America 4, Daredevil: Born Again. Those are all pretty much sequels. Then we have the first time ones coming through. Secret Invasion, Echo, Blade, Ironheart, Agatha, Thunderbolts. Those kind of being the first time seeing these characters, or the first time they get in their own, like they're like the main focus, basically. Now, I myself am really looking forward to the Thunderbolts film, because that's just going to be a really cool team up, because I love Baron Zemo. I think he's a fantastic character, and I love what Daniel Brew did with him. I think he did an amazing job with the character, and I'm hoping he's a part of the Thunderbolts. And just the whole idea behind that being kind of like an anti-villain team, kind of like the Marvel version of Suicide Squad, which is really cool. That's just going to be really fun, I think. I mean, seeing, Anthony Mackie come back as Captain America is going to be fun too as well. But definitely Thunderbolts is my top pick for the films that are coming out. Blade also being in that top pick as well, because I actually love the Wesley Snipes Blades. I thought they were really fantastic, so I'm looking forward to seeing Mahershala Ali as Blade, see what he brings and changes it up with. Such a fantastic actor. Phase 6, which it only consists of 3 films at the moment. They did not mention any TV series yet, which is basically, it's supposed to be Fantastic Four. It's supposed to start it off. And then, of course, we have the 2 new Avenger films, The Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. A lot of what's going to happen in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium is probably going to reflect a lot what Kang Dynasty is going to be about, I feel. That's kind of my presence on it. But I mean, with all these things coming out, I mean, the Echo TV series, the Secret Wars series, and stuff like that, all these series that they're going to be putting on Disney Plus are going to be really fun and interesting. What If season 2 is coming out, also a part of Phase 5, which should be interesting to see what they do with that. They already greenlit season 3 as well. What are you guys' thoughts on What If season 2? What would you like to see in What If season 2? Do you want to see something different than what we saw in the first season? Do you want to see something completely different, or did you like exactly how they did season 1? Starting with you, Wise. I don't know.
It's good. I actually growing up, I used to enjoy reading What If. They had some real good ones, but I enjoyed what they did with it. It was a good. There was some good stories, and I'm looking forward to them repeating the same thing. Actually, like I said, I enjoyed the What If series. Especially, I enjoyed Captain Carter.
Yeah, that was cool. They also, I don't know if anybody saw this article, but they did confirm that the Holly Atwell Captain Carter we saw in Doctor Strange 2 is not the same Captain Carter we saw in the What If series. They confirmed that. So she is not dead in the MCU's timeline, if anybody is, was wondering that. But yeah, they're supposed to be 2 different types of Captain Carters, which I thought was kind of interesting that they made that point about that, because I didn't even think of that. I was like, yeah, Captain Carter was in Marvel's, Doctor Strange too. I was like, yeah, okay. And so I always find that kind of funny that they mentioned that, make sure that they're 2 different versions. That was funny. Anyways, Mr. Jeff, your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I've heard. You know what? I've heard a lot of those rumors too about them potentially doing another live action, like a Captain Carter type series or whatever and whatnot. I like Haley Atwell, so I wouldn't be opposed to that if they wanted to do that or whatever. I guess from what I saw in like an article or something earlier today or yesterday, on What If season 2, she's gonna be a factor in that too. They're gonna have Captain Carter back in there. You know what I mean? So hey, you know what? Listen. What If is just another one of those series where, for me, as far as Disney Plus series go, the more that time passed after I watched it, the more I look back at it and I liked it more. I enjoyed what it did for me more over time. And if anything, I wouldn't be surprised that if I watched it again now, or maybe a couple months from now, I probably would enjoy it more than I watched it the first time. I think I probably would. I'll tell you right now, there were some episodes in the last season that were a little bit weaker for me, but the way they closed it out with Ultron like that and whatnot and everything was fucking awesome. That was great. I like that. And like the zombie Scarlet Witch and shit, damn, that was awesome, dude. I can't wait to see Marvel Zombies. I can't wait for that shit. I really can't. It's gonna be fun. But no, I'd say that as far as What If goes, it really, I guess, it's one of those things like, again, just like everything, right? They have to do something different from a cinematic standpoint with Marvel Studios and everything than they do in the comics, right? It's never going to be exactly the same, okay? We're not going to get the same exact stories we got from What If in the comics, right? It's not going to happen. So, at that point, there's got to be a line there where, like, you're going to do fan service and stuff like that here and there, but you've also got to give people the stories and give them the actual characters, right? Like the right chemistry with the characters and everything and whatnot, And I've got high hopes. I really do. I think What If season 2 is going to be better than the first season of What If. I do. I think they saved the best of the last. The best for last, basically. And I'd love to. I think it would be really cool to see them maybe gravitate towards some different characters this time, instead of so much Black Widow, instead of so much Hawkeye, instead of so much Peggy Carter, instead of so much, I hate to say it, instead of so much Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther, whatever, Thor, Party Thor, any of that crap. I'd like to see some different characters in there. I'd like to see Vision again, potentially, right? Or or Spider-Man more, right? I love to see the damn Punisher in there, to tell you the truth. But I guess we haven't gotten that far yet. I was hoping that they were going to mention the Punisher of this damn Comic-Con, man.
Well, supposedly he's going to be in Daredevil, so.
Hey, that'd be awesome. I'll tell you right now, that'd be great. But then again, once again, how do you make Frank Castle Punisher work on Disney Plus? Right? That's just what I don't understand. You know,
They'll figure it out somehow.
Yeah, but don't forget, Jeff. Now that they put the Netflix series on and they kept the regular R rating, they didn't edit them.
Yeah,
they can still make the series R, and I'm pretty sure they'll probably stick to that formula because they saw how well it did.
Well, Cyber, you know what? That's a good point. I forgot about that. Now that they have done that with the Netflix series, that does make sense that they could just continue on with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, honestly, I know you'd agree with me, Wise. It would be really make no sense logically for them to actually allow that Disney Plus series to go to like not be as good as it was on Netflix.
They have to uphold the standard that the Netflix series had. They had to, and that's why they brought back the same actor, because he is Daredevil. Like,
oh yeah,
he's Matt Murdock through and through. Just the way he looks, and they really got the right person to play Matt Murdock. And
oh yeah. Yeah,
so,
Charlie Cox.
Cox is awesome. Yeah,
he's very authentic as Daredevil. Really, really authentic. Really good as Matt Murdock. I hope they bring back the whole cast, like they've said in the past they're going to.
Oh, Vincent D'Onofrio's son. He's gonna play the.
I know he's gonna be back. I want the whole team to come back. I want Foggy. I want Karen Page. You know, all of them.
I agree.
Yeah, you know, and I'd love to see like maybe them like bring in Typhoid Mary or something like that too. You know, why not? Right? Ooh. That'd be fun. But no, I mean, hey, not to go backwards in time here, but what they did over at Netflix worked, man. Like they made some good ass shows over there, right? I mean, I didn't see Iron Fist, but apparently that was the one like not so good one, right?
Yeah, it was okay. Defenders could have been better than what it was. Again, the cream of the crop was Daredevil, Punisher, and Jessica Jones. So even Luke Cage, it was okay.
Well, I'd say that as an aside off of What If, I just want to point out that I think that I don't know how you could not be stoked for Fantastic Four at the end of the day. Like, I don't know how you could not be looking at that as
it's the first family in Marvel.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be a game changer when that comes out. Like, it's got to be, right?
Can they finally break the curse and put out a good Fantastic Four movie? We'll see. We'll see if Kevin Feige has it in him.
See, the only Fantastic Four film I thought that was horrible was the 2015 one. I thought the other two they made, 2005 and 2007, those were actually fun. I thought they were very funny.
I guess, yeah. The way they were better than the 2015 one. That one I just did not enjoy whatsoever.
Well, if they bring in Chloe Zhao and the writers and the director of the Captain Marvel film for that movie for Fantastic Four, it'll definitely be a success.
Sure it will, sir. So, also at San Diego Comic-Con, they showed us a new trailer to the She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. And I believe, Mr. Jeff, you have that available to view, sir.
I do. Give me 1 second, sir.
All right. So we'll give that new trailer a look.
Technical difficulties, folks.
The Macarena.
Wow! Jesus, what the hell,
plan.
Still in control, no overwhelming feelings of rage.
No, a normal amount of rage.
You do revert back to Gen 4 when you sleep.
Was the air horn really necessary?
For comedy, absolutely. This is a multi-year journey you're about to embark on.
Yes.
Yeah. Who's your best friend?
Nikki.
Spandex. Spandex is your best friend. Being a Hulk asks for balance. You have so much more to learn. Yes!
So I'm clearly nailing it at all these things.
If you want to go back to life as a lawyer, I respect that.
He doesn't mean that.
More and more eccentric superhumans are coming out of the woodwork. We're going to launch a division for them. And I want the She-Hulk to be the face of it.
Jennifer Waters. Namaste.
I have a serious conflict of interest. This man tried to kill my cousin, Bruce.
Yeah, that's quite all right.
Oh. People only care because I'm representing Emil Blonsky. I think they care because they're like, hey, that girl's great. Jen, do your thing. God, I really like this outfit. I'm not proud of this.
Miss Walters, we answer to a higher power. Our universe is on the edge of space.
I am a lawyer. We do things by the book.
The Book of Ashanti.
No, the book of American laws.
Whether you like it or not, you're now a superhero.
Let's do this. You know that friend you had in high school who was way cooler than you were, attractive, got all the attention from everyone? Hello.
I think I'm jealous. Is that what I'm feeling?
Look who it is.
Oh shit, was that fucking Daredevil?
Yep.
Oh man, you gotta be
Yes,
fucking
it
kidding
was.
me, dude. What's up with that, man?
Yeah, he's gonna be a part of the show because he's an attorney.
No, I knew that, but I figured it was gonna be Matt Murdock, not Daredevil.
Yeah, they should. They gotta get us ready for Daredevil
Hey,
Reborn.
that looks like Daredevil to me. I love me some Daredevil, man. I love
Yeah.
Daredevil. I do. Daredevil's my man. But yo, that trailer was fucking dope, dude. She-Hulk's a bomb, man. I'm telling you right now. I'm calling it right now. Best Disney Plus series of the year.
Already, huh? Not even without watching any
Yep,
of it.
best
Huh?
one. Yep, that's it. I'm sure you agree with me, right, Wise?
I'm looking forward to it. I won't say the best one just yet. I love the fact that they tease Daredevil and all that, but I think it's gonna be then having Abomination in it and all that. So we'll see. It looks good, and I like the fact that Mark Ruffalo's back as the Hulk.
Yeah,
sure, but what the fuck is going on with him? Why is he so much bigger now or whatever and whatnot? Like, he's still at the same size as like regular Hulk, right? But he's also bigger than Professor Hulk. So like, right?
He looked the same size to me.
Okay, all right.
He didn't look any different. He looked like he was the same size and everything.
I thought he was more muscular than like Professor Hulk looked at Endgame.
He possibly could be, because he was, now
And
that
yoga
he's,
stuff, yeah.
Maybe he's become more in tune with the Hulk again, after the Professor Hulk thing and everything, and maybe now he's even more that half and half of the Hulk and half of Bruce Banner himself. So maybe he did get bigger. I don't know. To me, it looks the same. I didn't see a difference. It wasn't like the first time I saw it, I was like, he looks different.
See, Cyber, I really think it is going to be different with She-Hulk. Is going to be the humor is going to actually work in this series. It's going to be effective. You know what I mean? Like, for the most part, like, look at that scene with Wong, like the book of Ashanti. No, the book of fucking American Law. You know, like that shit's funny, dude. Even to me and my freaking like raw ass. You know, like come on now.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, that shit's funny, dude. And like, hey, those training sequences and everything in scenes with Bruce and like Jennifer are great.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Gentlemen, I'm sorry I have to leave. I gotta get up early. And I've been up since 2:00 this morning. So
hey,
yeah, I can understand.
That's all right, Wise. You know what, brother? It's always good to see you, man.
Pleasure's always mine, brother. Thanks for having me.
It's great
All right,
having
brother.
you. You have a great night.
Later,
See you later.
Take care, man.
All right. So, since it's just me and you, I say we call it here. We're at an hour and a half.
Yeah, why not? This is rare time. We don't get to be just together like this very much.
I know. No, we don't.
You saw me do that. You saw me do that solo show the other night on last weekend, or not last weekend, but the weekend before that. I did that solo live stream that one night. I went for like 2.5 hours, man.
I saw that.
Yeah, I was getting after it.
Yeah, I don't know how you did it, but that was impressive. That was very impressive. You talked to yourself for 2.5 hours.
I was bringing back the old days, man, when I used to live stream by myself all the time and whatnot. That's all I ever did. You know, I'm spoiled now, man. I'm spoiled. I'm so used to like having guests and like co-hosts and shit and everything. And now,
yeah. So spoiled now.
Yeah, I am spoiled. You know what? It's nice to be on the bleeding edge.
It is. It is. I gotta throw a shout out to your shirt. Your shirt is awesome.
You like that?
Yep, Scarlet Witch.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it too, man. I really do. And I'll tell you what, Cyber. Hey, great show, man. You know what? As usual. Hey, what else can I say? I wish I could honestly say that I feel bad that I have not been able at all times to always get us on Rumble as much as I'd like to. But unfortunately, over there, you folks at Rumble, you're making things very complicated for me with my ability to try to actually start the live streams at times and whatnot with your crap, your bugs. So, you know, I guess I'm going to have to start like making special time before shows so I can make sure that I get the Rumble right and everything and whatnot. Yeah. But either way, no, Cyber was fun, man. I had a good time. And hey, look, we didn't get too far into it, so now I've got plenty of extra stuff to talk about on Friday and Sunday.
Yes, very much so. I mean, we talked a little bit about it. There's a lot more to talk about. I mean, because there's so much more to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Individually with each new movie that's going to be coming out. So, I mean, the Thunderbolts alone, we could talk a whole 2 hours about. So.
Oh, yeah, we could do a whole show just on the Thunderbolts.
So, yeah. So, we want to shout out, of course, all the amazing people that watch our show. I want to thank you for watching tonight. You know, of course, this is True Knowledge over here. You know, you can find him here on the MCU's Bleeding Edge. You can find him on plenty of places, TikTok, all that kind of stuff.
Please subscribe. Me and Cyber want to hit 2,000K fucking subs, man. What's up?
Yeah, subscribe, people, subscribe. And of course, as I always say, if you enjoy me moderating or if you just enjoy me on this show, definitely check out my solo stuff under Cybernetic Shark, of course, on YouTube, Rizzle, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere you can find something. I'm currently doing a Shark Week of reviews, so definitely check those out too, people. They're a lot of fun, really fun, enjoying. And hence why my name is Cybernetic Shark. I love sharks, so you know why I do that. And as always, people, we want to thank you for being subscribers. We want to thank all the people that watch, like we say. You guys are great. You are the reason why we are the MCU's Bleeding Edge. You guys rock, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.
They're going to kill me. I told them to send me a video holding an object and start nodding.
Anything is a dildo when you really put your mind to it. There's no such thing as too large or too sharp. Every time you stop to question yourself, I want you to tell yourself, I can, and I will.
There you go, Bob.
It's going down. It's going down, down. It's going down.